Go for the mount. This technique, he breaks my posture and I take him down, moving into the technical mount, establishing my base, making a frame, and securing the arm lock. There's a lot of detail in this move. He pulls me down, I hold the hip and post on the knee. I step around making sure that my toes go inside and sit down like I'm going into a chair. He falls next to me, not on top of me. From here I establish a good base and I grab the frame I grab my own wrist and I push downward. I do not push down and lift up with my neck or I'll hurt my neck. Here I'm showing you that if it's going outside, I go inside. I push down until he lets go and I lift up like I'm talking onto a telephone, securing the wrist. I push down on Will's head and then I do the arm lock. Here it is in fast motion. Notice how Will falls next to me. I mount, the whole time I'm establishing the base. If he lets go, I'm in the mount. In this case, I'm in the technical mount. I push down. As Will lets go, I lift up my head and I pinch my shoulder like I'm talking on a telephone. Once I establish this arm lock control, I push all my weight on his head, swing my leg around like I'm kicking a soccer ball, pinch my knees, and dominate the wrist like I'm grabbing a baseball bat. My hips go up slowly. This technique, I'm not able to do the first technique because Will's base is very wide. And I step and trip, pulling him away from the wall. I push him down, securing the mount, and I move in for the frame, pushing down. I don't push down on the frame and lift up my head. I push all my weight down firmly until he lets go. I want you to notice how Will has his base very wide. It's hard for me to do the first technique. So I have to secure, I secure his hip and I hold below his knee with a C grip. I step next to his foot and sit him across like I'm sitting into a chair. Since he's got me in a headlock, I can pull him away from the wall and I push down with my one hand on both of his legs to mount. Make sure that your foot goes down, your knee is up. My other knee's behind his head so it travels less. If you want to, you can secure the arm wrap. This is a good way to immobilize the position. Here it is in fast motion. Step and trip, go to the mount immediately. The whole idea of this when you're in the ground position is to get to the mount and make sure that you establish a good base. The arm lock is the first option, but now you got to secure it and break his arm. And we're always standing up a base in our techniques. The second option is the arm wrap. I step close to him, step across, and trip. You're going to actually sit like you're sitting into a chair here. Boom, just knock him down. Since you got your head, you can pull him away from the wall. I push down with my one arm on both knees, and I mount. My knee goes behind his head to keep him on his side. Establishing the frame, I went inside on that one. And now you just one grab, one hand feeds the other so you can secure this position. This is how we demonstrate how to do the triangle from the mount. I'm underneath the head. I slide my knee closer towards his elbow. When I put my foot up, he goes underneath my leg. I pull on his head and rock back into the triangle position. Arm lock finishes or the triangle choke. There's a lot to this that you have to see. First, you have to get to the position, then you finalize it. So I'm holding underneath his head and I slide my knee underneath his armpit a little bit. From here, he goes underneath my arm and then I pull on top of his head. I gave him some bait. I put my other foot up and went for the triangle. I'm going to show you what to do right now if he doesn't go for the bait. I still do the same thing. I hold his neck. I bring my knee underneath his armpit. Then I'm going to control his wrist with my left hand. I push it down to his chest and I step over his shoulder. From here, I'm going to lean back and pull his head, rolling up to my knee to lock the triangle. This next demonstration, I'm going to show in detail how to do that. So once I grab his wrist and I push it to his chest, stepping over his shoulder, I want you to notice how I sit back on his stomach. So I'm pushing it towards his chest. I step over his shoulder. I sit back and I pull on his head, grabbing my own shin, and now I try to lock the triangle. This is where you have some hard time. I put my head to the mat and I kind of turn ourselves perpendicular. I roll on my knee so I can get my foot in there for the triangle. A lot of people have a hard time doing this triangle. I don't understand. You just do it like that. Blue belt curriculum. This is defending from the closed guard, how to defend punches. I use my hip flexors to pull Will's hips in, and I put my hand up like I'm blocking the sun from my eyes so I don't catch a headbutt, and I want to go around both of his arms. His head goes into my hand like I'm catching a baseball. My second hand into a baseball glove. My second hand kind of holds the ball. And I'm going to wrap around my legs high. I'm going to try to play a high guard here. The only real target he's going to have right now is the punch to my ribs when I pull him in with the hip flexors. My head's up, so I'm not taking any punches. I can move my hips to the side a little bit and connect my elbow and knee, and that will prevent the shot to the ribs if it starts to become annoying. But this is it. This is the main pulling the hip flexors in. Catch that headbutt, wrap the arm. When he starts to punch, I move my hips out a little bit. I connect my elbow and knee together, tying him up. From here, we're going to start working a technique where you move into a side guard. I pull him in with the hip flexors, catch the headbutt, wrap the arm. When he starts to punch my ribs, I move my hip out and control the bicep, move my hip out more. I put my foot on the hip and get my knee wedged into his bicep. Every time he steps up on that hand, I pull his wrist out and put my knee into his armpit, into his bicep. That'll break him down. The hand that's wrapping the arm, I just kind of pinch the elbow. It doesn't matter to me if he punches the left arm or with the right arm to my ribs. I'm still going to go to the same side. See, I wrap the arm. He starts punching. I move my hip out. That's the first. Now I'm going to go all the way to the side. My elbow is going to pinch his arm in there, and I'm pinching the top leg is important. I got to keep his posture down. I like to pinch my knees together or keep my leg over his back to keep him down on his side. So this is where I like to go right away. Move my hips out. I'm protecting the headbutt with my other hand. The other hand's holding the bicep. I get my knee in there. Now it's all leg work. If he comes up more, I'm bringing my knee in there. I'm bringing my knees out and holding the biceps. Hooking around like umbrella hooks without the thumb, the monkey grip. It's going to be hard to hold someone in a closed guard, a big, strong guy. You kind of go with it. You got to know all the different distances. Close. He's either going to be really close to me or really far away. So if he's starting to come up, I start playing a far open guard. Bring my knees in. My hands are just around near my knees. I'm not reaching for his arms. I'm keeping my hands near my knees, and I'm using my legs to defend the punches. Close guard. Close guard. Keep him close. He starts punching. I start maneuvering to the side. Ideally right there. He moves up to the center again. I can't hold him, so I kind of go with it, opening into an open guard here. Holding the biceps, my knees are on, my feet are on my hips, on his hips, and I'm just relaxing. I'm not taking a punch. Keep him close. Move your hip out. The idea of this fighting from your back is not to take a punch. I don't want to get punched 1, 2, 3. That's how you got knocked out. So I want to have this guy really far away from me or really, really close. Whoever can control the middle is going to win. If he's in the middle, he can get more leverage and punch me. This is a